Hey, hi people. We've been talking about some of the T's that go with our lives, that they come and they sometimes cause us to stumble, they cause us to fall. Whatever it is, it's either of our own making or God is using something to test us, to make us stronger. He does it with good intention and for good reason. So we're talking about these tests and these trials, but there's another T that goes with it, and that's the T of temptation. I mentioned a little bit about it yesterday. When you go through a test, you turn that test into a trial when you fail the test. And that trial, if you don't respond well to it, is full of temptations. You see, the trial is one thing, the test is another, but the temptations are another. The temptation to sin will always be with us. As human beings, that's who we are. We live in a fallen world. We are our own worst enemies. We have a fallen nature. We have Satan doing a job on us. So temptation like that is ordinary and very normal for every believer. But the temptation that we spoke about yesterday was to make God something that he's not. You see, when we go through trials and tests, the first thing we do is try and find somebody to blame. And very often people will blame God. Well, not so much that God caused them to go through it, but God allowed them to go through it. And people get quite mean with God. They think that God has maybe abandoned them, left them, he hasn't fulfilled his promise. And they get, as it were, disappointed with God. Now, I don't think there's a Christian on the planet that hasn't been through something like that. But this disappointment with God, if you don't manage it well, can lead you to a place that you don't really want to go. It's a miserable place. It's a place of dysfunction. It's a place of second-guessing everything that the Bible tells you. And if your experience doesn't match up to what your expectation was, then automatically you feel that you've been hard done by. Why did God allow that thing to happen to me? Why did God allow that tragedy in my life? Why did God allow me to lose my job? I don't know the answer to those questions, but I do know that if there were trials and tests from God, you know what, people? They're good for you. God will never do anything to deliberately hurt you unnecessarily. Sometimes he uses these trials and these tests to bring us back on course. Think of the nation of Israel as they walked through the wilderness. So many trials, so many tests, and only one answer. Every trial and test could be answered if they simply learned what it meant to trust God. When we trust him, the trials make more sense. When we trust him, the pain that we may have gone through, we can see the good that comes out of it. And you know how we say that the worst thing that ever happened to you might, in the light of retrospect, be the best thing that ever happened to you? I got to tell you, people, that is so true. Think back on your own life and think of some of the tough things that have come about on you, some of the tough things that you've gone through, and you kicked and you squawked and you cried and you whined. And yet a year or two later, maybe not even that long, or maybe even longer, I don't know, you look back on that time and you say, wow, I didn't respond very well. I labeled God as the failure. Meanwhile, it was my inability to trust him in that situation that really was the problem. And so when we go through these God-sent trials and tribulations, then let's pass the test, won't you, by not making God something that he's not. Don't embarrass God by making him think that he's the one who has let you down. He's always been there. His grace is sufficient, we're told, in every situation in life. And then at the end of the day, like the passage we read yesterday said, it's all for good. You require patience. You need endurance to make that thing work. Now, the great example of that would have to be the Apostle Paul. At the end of his life, he knew what a tough time was. He knew what temptation was. He knew very specifically what trials were. He went through so many himself. And yet the Apostle Paul says, I've run the race. It wasn't an easy race. There were many aspects to the race where I was tired, and many times I was down, and many times I stumbled, and many times I may have taken the wrong way. But I have run well the race. I have left all the baggage of my failures behind, and I have finished well the race that God has set before me. Wouldn't it be great, people, if at the end of your days you could say the same thing? I hope you can. Just pass the test. Don't let the test become a temptation, and don't think God is the reason for it. When we pray, lead us not into temptation. That's what we're saying. Have a good day. Bye.